Homes by Katrina. I'm glad you decided to come back. This episode hits a little different for us as buyers when we want to know, is this house worth my money? Is this investment worth everything that I'm putting into it? Because I've gotten my financing, I've gone out and looked, I picked my realtor out, we found the house, and I'm in love, but should I really be in love? That's the question that we're going to answer today. And to help us with that question is a home inspector, y'all. We have a home inspector at the table. We have Mr. DeAnthony Norwood with Property Masters Home Inspection, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. We want to get behind the wall. So help me welcome my friend DeAnthony. How you doing today?
I'm good, Katrina. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm nervous now about having a home inspector at the table, but I'm good now. I'm good.
It's all right. I'm not a deal breaker. I'm a deal
Listen,
maker.
you knew that. That's their language. Is always like, are they gonna make us or break us? Because for real, sometimes that's the conversation. Yeah. As loan officers, realtors, we're like, are they gonna come and they're gonna put all that red all over the paper, and the buyer's gonna be scared, the seller's gonna be mad, everybody is gonna be hot.
I know it. It's a thing. Some inspectors, I look at us like it's a brotherhood. And some of these inspectors out here, they almost overly educate or over inspect for the fear of being sued.
Didn't think about it from that vantage point.
Yeah, they have a fear of being sued, but I just come from a viewpoint or a perspective of the homeowner's never seen the house before.
That's right.
They've never been through before, so I just try to paint a picture and just educate them on the house, just hitting all the key areas. That's really what I like to do in this, major versus minor stuff. So
I got you. So for a person who doesn't, because a lot of my buyers, when I'm talking to them, especially from the lending perspective, it's their first time, or maybe it's their second time, but they still didn't really understand everything. So what is a home inspector?
Okay.
And why do you need one?
Okay. First of all, you definitely need a home inspection because you're purchasing a home, and for most people, that is the most expensive purchase that you're gonna make in your life, and it's an investment. So you want to know that your investment you're making a good investment, and what we do and what our job is we're there to educate the client, the real estate agent on that purchase, on their home. We go through the house. We're gonna go in certain areas where the homeowner may never go. We're gonna go in these areas where the person who's selling the house may haven't been in 20 years. So when you think about that, we're gonna find certain things, and that's what our job is to do. We're almost there to almost not necessarily break the house, but just find the defects and find those things, checking outlets and windows and going in the attic and looking into all the cracks and the crevices and everything. So that's what we're there to do, to just educate you on the house and just make sure that the house is safe. And then it's not going to be a big money pit for you before you buy it. And it also allows, the buyers to give them some negotiation tools as well.
So one of the first questions that my buyers, when I'm educating them on getting pre-approved and what those upfront costs are, which includes the home inspection, appraisal, and their earnest money, putting that up. So on a typical home, and I know I'm going to say typical and give some background and context, a home that's maybe about 3,000 square feet, 2 stories on a slab, no basement. What is a buyer looking at? Because I try to give a range. So, and in Metro Atlanta, because I have to say that too, in Metro Atlanta, on average, what's a range that a person is looking at spending on a home inspection?
About 3,000 square feet, 2-story on a slab. You're looking anywhere from $450 to $485.
Okay.
Probably. For me, that's for my company, it's around $475. But that's gonna be the exterior, the roof, the gutters. We use drones. If we can't climb the roof to do the roof inspection, we check all the outlets, all the windows, all the appliances. We inspect the attic, back and forth, top to bottom. That also includes the termite inspection, which that includes a clearance letter. And Georgia is notorious for termites. This southeastern region. So for that $475 for 3,000 square feet, you also get the termite inspection with the clearance letter, And that also includes a 90-day inspection warranty as well.
Okay.
You know, sometimes when you move into these houses and on the day of the inspection, you know, now I always have to explain to people the inspection is just that. It's a snapshot of the condition of that house from the time that we're there. So, but sometimes things do happen after the inspection,
Okay.
even after the closing. That's where the 90-day warranty comes into place. So, for
An
example,
example, yeah, because I'm like, tell me an example.
for an example, say you had a 10-year hot water heater, life
Okay.
expectancy is 15 years on a hot water heater. And the hot water heater is 10 years old. It worked fine during the inspection,
Right.
no issues or anything. But 2 months in, clients moved in, hot water heater dies on them. Unexpected. It was working fine during inspection, but you know, it was 10 years old, so it was reaching that life expectancy of 15 years. The 90-day warranty covers funds either towards repairs or replacement.
That's good.
Mm-hmm,
Okay, that gives an extra sense of security because you
Right.
know a lot of time when people are going through this process, they're trying to save and cut on
Exactly.
every corner. But I tell people all the time, you don't want to cut on a home inspection. You want to look and you want to see. Now, one of the things I want to talk about as it relates to the home inspection itself, because I know I've seen one of yours for myself.
Okay.
You provide a very detailed home inspection. We can click the links, we can see the things, and you identify and rate the important versus the cosmetic. Because sometimes, you know, our buyers might go down a rabbit hole when they see certain thing and a certain wording that says like the life expectancy that this, it may be working fine, but it's like, oh no, the inspector said, and I don't want it. I don't want to buy a lemon for a house, and you know everything is going bad. And I'm like, oh my God, how do we make this thing right? So we get a home inspection report that's going to be detailed and thorough. What should we see in the report?
In the inspection report, definitely going to see pictures.
Okay.
There's software out there now that you have videos. You can put like a 30-second video.
Okay.
In the inspection report, you definitely want to know the age of your mechanical. So the age of your hot water heater, the age of your furnace, the age of your AC condenser on the outside. You just want to know the overall condition, structurally, the foundation, the attic. You know, if there's a lot of cracks in the attic, if there's a lot of cracks in the foundation, those things. Electrical issues, outlets that don't work, or outlets that are not properly wired.
Okay.
Though that's important because that can be a safety concern. That's a couple of things just to name a few. In the inspection report, the type of roof you have, architectural or asphalt shingles, those are the most common types. The difference in those two types of roofs is the life expectancy.
Got it.
Architectural is a little bit longer, it's a little more expensive, but you get more of a life expectancy versus the 3-tab asphalt shingles. And yeah, that's the majority of it. You know, just really want to just educate you, just so that you know exactly what you're getting. You know, you kind of want to be able to go through your inspection report, and it's broken down section by section. So you have your electrical section, then you have your plumbing section, then you have your HVAC, and then you have your structural and your roof. And so you should be able to go back and review your report if, you know, something came up. For example, one of the things that I've gotten callbacks before, which prompted me to do better in my inspection reports.
I love that transparency, for sure.
Outlets that are GFCI protected, ground fault circuit interference. That's a safety feature. You know, those outlets in your bathrooms and your kitchen, they tend to trip.
Yeah.
Well, I would, you know, when I was first getting started, I didn't specifically name where the reset were for those outlets. So people call back after the outlets have tripped. You know, this could be maybe a year later.
Right.
9 months later, hey, my outlets went out. It was working when I was there. But after speaking, you know, and asking more questions with them, I realized, oh, it's just the GFCI's trip.
Yeah.
So I had now in my reports, I actually point out, hey, your reset is either in the garage or in the main bathroom or the half bathroom.
Because they don't know. They're not looking at any of, I'm going to tell you, from a female perspective, especially, it's a few things that we're concerned about.
Yeah.
It's going to be that master. It's going to be the size of those closets. It's going to be the kitchen. Now, all of the other little things, because you're in the attic, you're doing all of that. It's like, okay, it's good. When I have to get up in the attic to go store some more of my stuff up there, then I want to know. But from a perspective, because I'm sure sometimes buyers come out and they want to walk with you or be there with you.
Yes.
What are things that you see that they're asking you about that really don't matter? That you should be saying something else, but you focus on. What do you see them asking you the most questions about?
How dirty the carpet is.
Oh my God.
If why they got all these different colors on the walls, this paint.
The cosmetics.
The cosmetics. Little small, especially if a house is a resale.
Right.
Little
for sure.
little cracks, little simple stuff, which is pretty normal. I always tell people, as far as cracks is concerned inside the house, if it's smaller, if it's thinner than your fingernail, it's
So hairlines.
Right.
Okay.
Little hairline cracks, stuff like that. The way the blinds look, or there's a couple of scratches on the floor. I want them to change my floors, and sometimes I have to explain to people like, well, as a home inspector, if it's a resale, now if it's a new construction, all that's going on, then yeah, definitely.
Do you get a lot of inspections for new construction? Because that's a thing too.
I do.
Because we've had some situations where clients, they're like, no, they didn't want to. And we had one who really was adamant and they had a home inspection. And we were so happy that they did because it was a whole issue with their fireplace. Yeah. Like something wasn't done to code. So I know with builders, they require you to have, and you have your insurances, your licensing and all of that kind of stuff. But do you see more people now having home inspections on new construction?
I do, and I'm starting to get I see a lot of the word is getting out with people when they're getting the houses built. They want to do a pre-drywall inspection too.
Okay.
And that is very important. That's before the drywall goes up. So that's where I will come in as a home inspector and inspect your framing, your foundation. That's when I inspect your plumbing, your wiring, your HVAC, your
But the county comes out and does that in my mind.
You're right.
In my mind, right?
They do. But think about it this way. So the county, so if I'm a county inspector, there may be 10 subdivisions going up in that one county, and I got to hit every single subdivision, every single house. So for most counties, there are some counties who are very, very strict and who are very good about and specific about what these builders put in this house, in these houses. But there are some where sometimes the county inspectors, they can be overwhelmed. You got 100 houses that you got to get inspected by the end of the week. They're not going to be as thorough and detailed as your own personal home inspector. So they have just a certain checklist that they go by, and they do check for code, things like that. Okay. And although I'm not a code inspector, I check for the all of the defects. There are certain things that, like I said, that the county inspector, they just don't have the time to spend on your specific house when they got 5 more to do after yours. Whereas me, you have a scheduled set time, 3 to 4 hours for me to do your inspection. For your new construction, especially when it's pre-drywall, I've seen where the pipes aren't installed incorrectly. I've seen where the air duct vents are bent too much, where it's shaped like an L, and so that restricts the airflow. I've seen where,
which is why sometimes one room in the
one room may be cooler than the other. Yes.
That hot room, like it just never, can't get right. Just can't
Right.
ever get right. Yes.
Right. Or when some of the contractors, when they're installing the wiring and they have to run the wiring through your wall studs, or the plumbing through your wall studs, a plumber may come. A electrician may come in and run a wire through a wall stud, and a plumber may come in and need to place a plumbing in that exact same spot. They may cut the framing too deep, and that will bring the integrity. It will bring the integrity of that piece of lumber in question. So it's things like that we have the opportunity to catch before the drywall goes up. But once the drywall goes up, you can't see any of that. So yes,
not
absolutely.
until something starts leaking
new
or
construction,
burning.
You definitely need a new inspection. Just look at it like this: although it's new, it's being built by humans, and they make mistakes.
I say it all the time.
And I'm not there to badmouth the builders or badmouth the contractors. I'm just there as another set of eyes.
I love that.
So that's how I look at it.
Cool. So when we think about home inspections, and I know you've seen quite a bit because you've been in the industry now, how long?
10 years.
Okay, so yeah, you've seen a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to hear one of those stories that just has stuck with you. But what are the most common issues that cause a deal to just you up in there, you look and you're like, oh, this is not gonna fly. I already know that this is gonna be bad. When they start, you already know that second conversation coming. The realtor's gonna call you, the client's gonna call, and they're gonna want to have we need to do a Zoom meeting. Let's talk about what are you seeing. So what is that thing that once you see it, you already know like this might not be it.
Structural issues, man. Structural, and specifically foundation.
Okay.
Significant cracks in the foundation or significant shifting in the foundation, because the foundation is like that's probably the most important part of the house. The foundation is not right, the whole house is not going to be right. So the foundation or major significant issues in the attic, anything that's structural, that's almost certain that's going to be a deal breaker. Major plumbing issues, anything with water, because water is the enemy of a house. So if I've seen houses where plumbing is just completely bad, or they're just old, and the plumbing needs to be upgraded, that's because it can be expensive, and foundation issues can be expensive. I had an investor. He hadn't even looked at the house. He just reached out to me to do the inspection one time, and it was raining. And before I do an inspection, I always, walk the perimeter, walk the inside, kind of get a feel for the house. And I walked the outside of the house, and the crack on the side of the foundation, I could walk through it. So,
was he buying it sight unseen?
Sight unseen.
Oh no!
And the entire house was like it was like shifting off the foundation. And I just looked at it and sent him a picture, and I called him and said, "Hey, did you look at this house?" He was like, "Oh, I just saw it online." So
I hope he was wanting it for the land.
He was, young investor. He was his first time, and right then, and I just told him, I was like, "Look, man, unless you got like some good foundational people, you're gonna really have to rebuild this house, man, because you're gonna have to tear the house down to get the foundation right." So I advised him I would keep looking.
I love that, because you want to move with integrity, and sometimes I tell people it's bigger than a closing check for me. I want to make sure that I'm providing you honesty, access, knowledge, and the things that I stand on, but I want your referral business.
I was just about to say.
So I'm not looking for just this closing. I'm looking at the 3, 4, 5 that's going to come from you. And then from the 3, 4, 5 people that you're going to send. Right. So I want to make sure we're always doing it right, which is why, for sure we partner with you. Mm-hmm. But tell me about a story that has stuck with you from like in your home inspections, and it's like I ain't gonna ever forget that house or that situation.
Oh man, it was a house. This same investor, young guy. Oh. It was a house in South Fulton, Southwest Atlanta, and little ranch. And it looked kind of normal on the outside, but I could tell something was up with it. And like I did walk my perimeter, didn't see nothing on the outside. Walked in on the inside, and it was just a simple 3-bedroom, 2-bath, old school ranch house built in the '60s.
Okay.
Old school house, and had a long hallway. And when you walk in the house, the entire living room floor like opened up like it was a gaping hole in the bottom of it, in this like huge hole. It's like, oh my gosh, man, why does this house look? How did it get like this? But then when I went outside and you stood in front of the house, you could look at the house, and it was almost like it was being broken in half, because that floor was separated, and it was causing the house to almost split. So you could look at the house, and it had like a up and a down curve instead of it being nice and flat. And I sent him a picture and a video of it, and I would never forget that house. And that was I had never seen anything like that before. That was
that's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
Something else I hear a lot of my clients, because of course on the loan component, I don't want to see the home inspection. They deal with that. But once they start negotiating issues and things, I've been seeing a lot of issues with pests. squirrels and
Mm-hmm.
different, like
Mm-hmm.
getting in the house, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are they living with us? What's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. So if you get in the house and if it's got a lot of trees around it,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of trees, that brings pests. If you have, bushes and shrubs that are growing alongside of the house, that brings moisture, which also brings pests and
But
rodents and
don't
stuff like
squirrels and
that.
stuff run from us? Like they're coming, they want to live in the house. They camping out.
When it's cold outside, that's when you usually have your biggest rodent problem because they want to get inside the house where it's warm. So they usually go in these areas that's called the builder's gap along the house. That's an area where the roof comes down and then the gutter comes up.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a small little gap, just enough to where a squirrel or a little mouse can get in there. It's called a builder's gap, and every house usually has it. And the only way you can prevent that is you have to put what's called like some galvanized steel. Somebody come in and put that all around your house. I've had that done in my house twice. So
Is it expensive? Like once the rodents are in, is it expensive? Because like I look at we're in a subdivision, so when I look at the chat, somebody was like, we had squirrels because some of the people who live on the tree line and their houses butt up, and I wanted to buy that house with that 2 acres, and Frank would not have it. He was like, no, because it's gonna be snakes, and I don't want to deal with it, and you're gonna be scared. I was like, sound like you scared, but whatever. So I've been listening, and I've seen people like, hey, do you know somebody? Or I had to get somebody from Florida to come because we had the lights put on around the house. And the guy told us, he was like, hey, it's a crack. Like if you just lift up, it don't take too much. So it's the gap you're referring to. But people were saying they were spending a pretty penny to get these rodents out of their roofs and things of that nature. And I've had a family member who had the issue with the cedar houses. It was the woodpeckers and the squirrels. And I was like,
I dealt with both. And woodpeckers, they can be a nuisance, man. Termites, the rodents. I think I've had like one time at one point I had like 2 or 3 squirrels in my attic, and it was.
But how do you get them out?
So you get a pest control company, and they do an exclusion. So what they do is they come in and they find and locate where the entry point is.
Okay.
And what they do is they secure all the other areas around the house except for that one entry point, and they'll put like a trap on the end of that where the entry point is. So the rodent, if it's inside, then once it goes out the entry point and into the trap, then the door shuts and it can't go back in the house. And the same thing.
My
so that's
mind wouldn't let me sleep, wouldn't let me rest for any of it. But when you were talking about the water, I want to go back to that because the houses that I purchased in Georgia, and I purchased several, but the 2 that I purchased in Georgia were new construction. And the last one, I noticed that, it goes back to the home inspection because in full transparency, we didn't get one when we did it. So now the room that's under us, which would be for our in-laws, should we ever have to have someone come live with us. And I never noticed it because I'm not down there. And I just happened to be down there one day talking, and Frank might have been in the shower. And I was like, I could hear the water running down the thing. I'm like, it's not insulated or something's missing. So it makes me go back to just because I always get the question, even people like, we're going to verdict new construction, just get the home inspection to make sure everything is going to be done above board and just be able to know. And I also wanted to just recap in case you missed it, the 90-day warranty to make sure that we could go back and we can look at things and make sure that it's going to be well. So with your company, when we call, are we getting you? Are we getting somebody else? You got a bunch of workers? What we doing?
It depends on how busy we are. And we are pretty busy. We average around 12 to 15 houses a week. So we're doing pretty good. So it all depends on what the schedule is for that week. Typically, you would get me or you would get my employee, who's certified, trained by me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, and I took him through the ringer, man, because I got to make sure that I wanted him to be a reflection of me.
Absolutely.
When you're doing these inspections. So you either get myself or my employee Richard.
And what made you go into home inspections?
I got tired of corporate America, Katrina. That was
Oh,
that
whoa.
was really
If
what it
if I had a
was.
dollar for every person who sat in that chair that got tired of corporate America.
Yeah, so I was a network engineer for about 20 years in my previous life,
Okay. I love
and
that.
worked for a large telecommunications company. Within that 20 years, I had an opportunity to work overseas in Afghanistan for the
Mm.
military as a civilian contractor, doing network administration, installing and configuring Cisco routers and
Okay.
switches and
Familiar.
voice over IP phones. So did that for almost a year. So when I came back and got back to my corporate job, I don't know, just being overseas kind of opened my eyes
Mm-hmm.
to some other things. And when I got back and being in this cubicle and meetings and emails and it just it didn't sit well with me. And I saw a friend of mine I went to high school with. He was doing home inspections. I saw him
Okay.
on Facebook, so I reached out to him. He invited me to come out on a couple of jobs with him. I followed him around and asked a lot of questions and just watched what he did. And yeah, just had a conversation with him. And so he told me where to go as far as getting certified.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask, is it extensive
Hmm.
training? So
Yeah.
do I have to have a background in home building and all of that?
So, not really. You don't. Like I said, I was in IT, so I only helping my partner around the house fix stuff or fix stuff
Yeah.
in my own house. That's all I knew. But yeah, so you do have to get certified. And in Georgia, until recently, you didn't have to have a license.
Okay.
It wasn't a licensed state to be a home inspector,
Got
but
it.
just probably a month ago, they
Mm.
just passed it in Georgia. And they're still kind of working out the details, but now you have to be a licensed. It's going to be a licensed
That
state.
makes me feel better.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want you
And
to
it
be
makes sense
licensed.
because you got Alabama, that's a licensed state, Florida, that's a licensed
Right.
state, North Carolina. So I figured it was on a matter of time before Georgia fell under that same umbrella. And so back to, so got certified and kind of worked for my friend part time while I worked
Okay.
full time, and we're just learning the
That's
ropes
good.
and just learning and getting trained. And a year later after that, I started my own company, and a year after that, I took an early retirement, and that was it.
Come on.
Yeah.
So the only thing that just challenges me in my mind, because I think to the worst of the situations.
Uh,
What about a house with a crawl space? Because you got to go under there. Do you send a drone? Are you under there? Because there's snakes and stuff under there.
oh yeah, oh yeah. You got to get up under there. Yeah, that's
Oh.
part of the job.
Oh,
It's part of the job. And I
no.
can't tell you how many I've trained other inspectors too, and I can't tell you the the struggle it is for some of these
Ooh.
guys. Now I've been in some spaces where
Claustrophobia might kick
yeah,
in because
yeah, it was
it could
just
be.
too close and just too tight, and at that point I had to I was scared for my safety. So at that point, I had to be honest with him, like, hey, this it's just not feasible for me to go in. It's not safe. I done came across, raccoons and snakes and all kinds of stuff down there. Now, when I see certain signs, certain things that, like, if you see like insulation is being fallen and pulled from underneath the flooring in the crawl space, or if you're seeing these huge mounds of feces in there, yeah, I don't need to go and inspect that. You got a problem. You need to send a pro in there.
Listen, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't know. Because in my mind, I told my husband, I was like, I think our son needs to get into home inspection. He
Yeah.
said, Keenan ain't going to go up under these doors. But hey, you just never know. It could be a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
So you spoke about investors because we have so many people
Mhm.
from other states and even just locally who like to invest here in Georgia. So, and sometimes they buy or they put an offer in sight unseen.
Mhm.
So if you were speaking to just that investor community, what would you tell them are the top 3 things that they need to consider before purchasing?
Okay. Structural and foundation. That's number one. Um, you definitely don't want to get a house that has some major structural and foundation issues, major cracks, major shifting in the foundation. Um, if the grading, which means the grounds around the house, like if you're having a house at the bottom of a hill,
Mm-hmm.
that's where water can flow. So if the grading around the house is not proper, where the water can go around the house instead of it settling around the
Right.
foundation. So you want to keep your eyes out for things like that. Significant plumbing issues. I'm talking about something more than your regular pipe leak.
Okay.
But like if it's, where you got to add some plumbing or remove some plumbing, you want to look at, pay attention to things like that. Things like electrical, you can probably kind of work your way through that, except maybe if the house is really, really old and the wiring and the electrical is outdated.
Right.
You may want to pay attention to those. So structural, electrical, plumbing, those are the major key things that I would suggest you pay attention to, and not so much the cosmetic stuff.
Okay, that's fair. Well, as you're talking about foundations, I'm going to ask one question and we're going to kind of come to a close. So I've been seeing some issues with driveways and big cracks in driveways. But in my mind, I'm like, why is the inspector talking about the driveway and you can just drive over it? Like, what's going on? Why is it such a... I didn't even know that an inspector is evaluating the driveway and the cement cracks. Like, why?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just like we look at a patio, if it's a significant crack in the driveway or the patio, and it might not even be that significant when we look at it, but over time, we could tell that if it's going to be a problem in the future, and that's what we're reporting on. So if it's a crack, maybe smaller than your pinky, and your pinky can fit through, I consider that minor.
Okay.
But if you see a crack in the driveway and the driveway is shifting, where you got one side high and another, that's major.
I'm like, the truck could drive over that. That's
okay. No, because it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
With water and weather and hot and cold temperatures, it's only going to get worse, and especially if you have trees growing around and got tree roots that can grow underneath your driveway, that could be problematic for you too. So, that's part of the driveway is part of the inspection too.
I know. All of the little things, all of the details. So, what I heard you say is we have to make sure that we're paying attention to what we're buying, because as an investor myself, sometimes we see a great deal and we're thinking about cha-ching, ching on the other end, but we want to get a home inspection no matter what. So you heard it. New construction, existing home, whatever it is, you want to spend the money. If you're going to spend a couple $100,000 or any thousands of dollars, period, on a property, make sure that the property is going to be worth what you're trying to do, know what your end goal is, and make sure you know what you're buying. Because when you don't know, you can't see behind the walls, and there's more to it than just hanging pictures up on the wall. Because once you start getting somebody to come in, most buyers are going to get their home inspection. So you want to have yours so you can know what you're walking into with the deal, and you definitely want to have an expert like my friend DeAnthony.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you pulling up a chair to the closing table. You are welcome.
My pleasure.
Anytime. Anything you want to say before we tell us how to reach you, where we can find you on your socials?
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm DeAnthony Norwood, and you can find me on all of the social media platforms at PMHI LLC on Facebook as well as Instagram. Mr. Freckleface on TikTok. You can find me you can reach me at 404-478-9795 or propertymastersinspections.com.
Well, guys, that wraps up another episode of The Closing Table with Loans by Katrina. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and tell a friend to come pull up a seat at the closing table. See you soon. Peace.